Hello friends, today's topic is deemed profits, which is covered under section 41, wherein any type of expenditure, loss, benefit, deduction considered by the SSC in the books of accounts and subsequently there is reversed in part of the liability or whole of the liability in the books of accounts of the SSC, then the year in which the same is reversed in the books of accounts, in that year that will be subject to tax in the hands of the SSC as deemed profits. Friends, section 41, which is deemed profits, wherein any expenditure, loss, or trading liability claimed as deduction in the preceding years and in the current previous year, the same is reversed in the books of accounts. If yes, then it will be treated as benefit in the hands of the SSC. It will be treated as deemed profits in the hands of the SSC and accordingly will be liable to tax. The same, the deemed profits will be taxable in the hands of the employee even if the business is not in existence in the relevant previous year. So, expenditure claimed in the books of accounts and later on reversed, it will be taxable. Even in case of assets, in the case of power units, the actual cost or exceeds the written down value of the asset, any surplus will be subject to tax under section 41(2). Any asset pertaining to scientific research, any asset pertaining to scientific research, if sold, then amount of benefit wherein the WDV of the asset wherein a capital expenditure was claimed as deduction, any benefit thereon in the subsequent year will be reversed and it will be subject to tax in the hands of the SSC under section 41(3). So the crux of the provision is you have claimed a deduction and allowance maybe in the form of revenue expenditure, capital expenditure, and thereafter in the subsequent years you have some sort of benefit by reversal in the books of accounts. If yes, then the same will be subject to tax as deemed profits of the business and it will be taxable even if the business is not in existence. So friends, first is section 41(1), subsection 1, wherein any benefit in respect of loss, expenditure, or trading liability will be subject to tax if reversed in the books of accounts. On your screen, benefit in respect of loss, expenditure, or trading liability. Let's take an example. Expenditure, for example, employer is liable to pay bonus to the employee and 1 lakh was supposed to be paid, for which a deduction was claimed in the books of accounts. For the time being, park it aside whether it has been actually paid or not. But on payable basis, just for an example, on payable basis, the employer has claimed deduction of rupees 1 lakh in the books of accounts, considering that same is payable to the employee. Now, the amount actually paid by the employer is only 60,000. So ideally, you have taken a deduction of 1 lakh and only 60,000 is actually paid to the employee. So 40,000 remaining payable is a sort of benefit which should be reversed in the books of accounts and which will be taxable as deemed profits in the hands of the SSC of the employer under section 41(1). benefit. This is an example of benefit in respect of expenditure claimed in the books of accounts by the SSC. Any trading liability could be you have made purchase on credit, purchase goods on credit. So you have claimed a deduction in the books of accounts. However, you haven't paid full liability to the creditor yet. Out of 1 lakh, you have paid only 80,000, 20,000 is remaining payable, maybe on account of goods returned or defective goods or some other reason. So out of total 1 lakh, only 80,000 is paid, 20,000 is payable. So that 20,000 will be reflecting as benefit in the hands of the SSC. Trading liability of 1 lakh, however, actual payment is only of 80,000. So 20,000 will be taxable in the hands of the SSC as deemed profits. So just an example of expenditure, example of trading liability. On your screen, where an allowance or deduction has been made in the assessment for any year. So allowance or expenditure has been made in the preceding previous years in respect of loss, expenditure or trading liability incurred by the SSC, hereinafter referred to as first mentioned person, and subsequently during any previous year. So in the subsequent previous year, the first mentioned person has obtained, whether in cash or in any other manner whatsoever. So a benefit has been obtained either in cash or in any other manner whatsoever. Any amount in respect of such loss or expenditure or some benefit in respect of such trading liability by way of remission or cessation thereof. So in our example, bonus payable and purchase of goods on credit, wherein actual liability has not been rendered, wherein the actual payment has not been made. So it will be some sort of amount which has been received by the SSC, which will be covered over here in any manner, in any other manner whatsoever, and purchase of goods on credit, some benefit in respect of such trading liability by way of remission, cessation thereof. The amount so obtained by such person or the value of benefit accruing to him shall be deemed to be profit and gains of business or profession and accordingly chargeable to income tax as the income of that previous year. So it will be deemed to be profit and gains from business or profession, whether the business or profession in respect of which the allowance or deduction has been made is in existence in that year or not. So it doesn't matter whether the business or profession is in existence in that year or not. Fine. So as per 41(1), any allowance or deduction was already made, and in the subsequent year, in the relevant previous year, there has been benefit accruing to the SSC in any form whatsoever, then it shall be deemed to be profit and gains from business or profession, even if the business in existence or not, it doesn't matter. Whenever it is received, it will be taxable in the hands of the SSC, and there might be a case wherein there is succession of the business. Succession of the business in the form of amalgamation, demerger, succession of firm into company, or proprietorship into company. In this sort of succession, the same will be taxable in the hands of the successor. Benefit to successor in business. The successor in business has obtained, whether in cash or in any manner whatsoever, any amount in respect of which loss or expenditure was incurred by the first mentioned person So here loss or expenditure was incurred by the first mentioned person or some benefit in respect of trading liability by way of remission or cessation thereof. The amount obtained by the successor in business or the value of benefit shall be deemed to be profit and gains of the business or profession and accordingly chargeable to income tax as the income of that previous year. So it will be subject to tax in the hands of successor as well as deemed to be profit and gains from business or profession. Now certain explanation for terms. Explanation to the term loss or expenditure or some benefit. We have already taken an example for this. For the purpose of this subsection, the expression by way of remission or cessation thereof means it shall include the remission cessation of any liability by a unilateral act by the first mentioned person. So here remission or cessation means you are reversing the same in the books of accounts. Fine. So example of credit purchase wherein you are reversing the tax liability, you are reversing the trading liability. It doesn't matter whether the actual creditor, whether the creditor has, you know, reversed the same, written off the same in his books of accounts or not. If the SSC has reversed it, has written off the liability in the books of accounts as income, right? So if the same has been reversed in the books of accounts of the SSC, the same is reflecting in the books of accounts of the SSC, it doesn't matter whether same corresponding entry is reflecting in creditors books of accounts or not. That is what we mean by unilateral act. It is enough if the same is reflecting as reversal entry in the books of accounts of the SSC. So this term shall include reversal of entry by way of unilateral act by the first mentioned person under clause A or clause B by writing off such liability in the accounts. It will be enough if it is reflecting only in the books of accounts of the SSC himself. Successor in business, as we have discussed, it will be amalgamation, succession of business, where the first mentioned person is succeeded by any other person, firm is succeeded by other firm, and in the case of demerger. So amalgamation, demerger, we had previously stated that succession of firm with company, no, succession will be firm to firm and succession of the first mentioned person by any other person. So this is the example for succession of business by way of explanation 2 to subsection 1 of section 41. So friends, this concludes section 1 of section 41, wherein any loss, any expenditure, any trading liability previously claimed as deduction in the books of accounts has been subsequently reversed. If yes, then it will be subject to tax in the hands of the SSC in the year of reversal as deemed profits, even if the business of the SSC is not in existence, even if there is succession of business, the same deemed profits will be taxable in the hands of the successor. Now friends, balancing charge. Balancing charge, as we have discussed earlier, while in the section of depreciation, that the same will be taxable in the hands of the SSC in the year when the asset is sold. The SSC in this case is a power undertaking, is a power unit, wherein machinery purchased in the preceding years, depreciation has been claimed, and now the asset, when it is sold by the SSC, and the asset is sold by the SSC, the sale proceeds is more than the written down value of the asset. If yes, then anything in excess of written down value will be subject to tax in the hands of the SSC as balancing charge under section 41(2). So there will be scenarios wherein the sale proceeds will be compared with written down value. If it is less, if the sale proceeds is less than the written down value, then it will be a terminal depreciation which will be allowed as deduction to a power unit. If it is more than the sales proceeds, if the sales proceeds is more than written down value, anything in excess of written down value will be taxable under section 41(2) as balancing charge. And now if the sales proceeds is exceeding not only written down value but also the actual cost of the asset, if it is exceeding the actual cost of the asset as well, the original cost of the asset as well, then there will be a capital gains under section 45. So sales proceeds minus actual cost will be capital gains. Sale price, sale proceeds minus written down value will be balancing charge under section 41(2). On your screen, where any building, machinery, plant or furniture which is owned by the SSC, in respect of which depreciation is claimed under section 32, which was or has been used for the purpose of business. So owned by the SSC, clause 1 of subsection 1 of section 32 is nothing but for power units, and the same is used for the purpose of business. So basic conditions for claiming depreciation: such asset is sold, discarded, demolished or destroyed, and the money is payable, which is the sales proceeds in respect of such asset, together with the amount of scrap value, exceeds written down value. So the amount is exceeding written down value. So much of the excess as does not exceed the difference between actual cost and the written down value shall be chargeable to income tax as income of the business of the previous year in which the monies payable became due. So in the year of receipt, it will be taxable, it will be subject to tax, and amount will be taxable even if the business is not in existence. This is coming from the explanation to subsection 2 of section 41, where the money is payable in respect of the building, machinery, plant or furniture referred to in this subsection became due in a previous year in which the business for the purpose of which such assets were used is no longer in existence. Such business is no longer in existence. The provisions of this subsection shall apply as if the business is in existence in that previous year. So, section 41, as we had discussed earlier, the crux of the provision is the amount, the benefit which has been received by the SSC will be subject to tax even if the business is not in existence. So this we have covered in section 41(1) in subsection 1 as well as in subsection 2. Now friends, subsection 3, which covers asset which is used for scientific research. Again, this has been covered previously, wherein asset which is used previously for scientific research purpose, either in-house under section 35(1)(4) or for biotechnology business under section 35(2)(b), wherein you have claimed benefit by way of capital expenditure in the past. Now you have sold the asset. So any benefit derived which is less than the actual cost but more than the written down value of the asset, then the same will be subject to tax in the hands of the SSC under section 41(3), and the same will be taxable even if the business is not in existence. On your screen, there is an asset representing expenditure of a capital nature on scientific research within the meaning of clause 4 of subsection 1, which is in-house capital expenditure, and clause C of subsection 2b of section 35, biotechnology business capital expenditure. Read with clause 4 of section 43, wherein a deemed depreciation, wherein a notional depreciation is calculated for computing the written down value of the asset in such cases where such asset is sold, without having been used for other business purposes, and the proceeds of the sale together with the total amount of deduction made under clause 1, or as the case may be, the amount of deduction under clause 1a subsection 2 or clause C of subsection 2b of section 35 exceeds the amount of capital expenditure. So the proceeds of the sale together with the amount of deduction made is exceeding the amount of capital expenditure herein. Basically, the benefit in the form of deduction under section 35 plus the sales proceeds are exceeding the actual cost of the asset, are exceeding the amount of capital expenditure. If yes, that will be treated as benefit in the hands of the SSC. The excess or the amount of deduction so made, whichever is less, shall be chargeable to income tax as income of the business or profession of the previous year in which the sale took place. So friends, basically the deduction benefit considered under section 35 is supposed to be reversed, and the same will be taxable under the head business or profession. Anything in excess of deduction claim under section 35, anything in excess of deduction which is being reversed will be taxable as capital gains. So always when a capital asset is sold, you take it as balancing charge, or for units in the normal business other than power units or scientific research, whenever the proceeds exceeds the actual cost. So there will be two benefits. One which will be reversal as business expenditure, meaning excess will be taxable in two parts. One part will be business income and second part will be section 45, which will be taxable as capital gains. We have discussed this in the past while calculating depreciation as well, and in more detail this will be covered under the chapter under the topic capital gains. So friends, in a nutshell, subsection 3 says whatever benefit has been taken under section 35 in the past, the same will be reversed and subject to tax under subsection 3 of section 41. So the excess or the amount of deduction so made, whichever is less to the extent of benefit taken in the past, shall be chargeable to income tax as the income of the SSC in the year of receipt. Amount will be taxable even if the business is not in existence. Recovery of bad debt subsequently. So this specifically covers reversal of deduction, reversal of bad debts considered under section 36(1)(7). So if you have claimed bad debts deduction under section 36(1)(7) and subsequently the same is reversed, it will be taxable under section 41(4). The same will be taxable even if the business is not in existence. So it could be a case wherein the bad debts written off was 100, right? However, the amount received by the SSC is more than 100 now, or there is certain amount of portion received. It could be even 20-30 rupees. It has been subsequently in the subsequent years, let's say after 5 to 6 years, the SSC was able to obtain certain amount from the defaulter. So any benefit received will be taxable as business income as per subsection 4, section 41. Again, a deduction was claimed in the past, and accordingly any reversal thereof will be income of the SSC in the hands will be income in the hands of the SSC. Where a deduction has been allowed in respect of bad debt or part of debt under 36(1)(7, then the amount if subsequently recovered on any such debt or part is greater than the difference between the debt or part of debt and the amount so allowed. Fine. So benefit is more than the debt which has been written off. The excess shall be deemed to be profit and gains of business or profession, accordingly chargeable to income tax in the year of recovery, and the same will be taxable even if the business is not in existence. So deemed profits even if the same is not in existence, and section 36(1). These wordings are important. Definition of monies payable and sold, which is given by way of explanation. Monies payable in respect of any building, machinery, plant or furniture includes insurance, salvage or compensation monies payable in respect thereof, where the building, machinery, plant or furniture is sold, the price for which it is sold. So obviously the selling price and any salvage amount, any scrap value, any insurance amount will be part of the monies payable. So as we have discussed earlier, monies payable will not only include the sales proceeds but will also include the scrap value, the sale value, or even the insurance amount will be part of the monies payable. Sold includes transfer by way of exchange or a compulsory acquisition under any law for the time being in force, but does not include a transfer in a scheme of amalgamation of any asset by the amalgamating company, where the amalgamated company is an Indian company. Fine. So the sale does not include transfer in a scheme of amalgamation. This will be an exception, and this particularly will have to remember for this particular clause, if any. So recovery of bad debt subsequently, if you have claimed deduction under section 36(1)(7) previously, then subsequently the same, when the same is recovered, will be subject to tax in the hands of the SSC in the year of receipt, in the year, even if in the year of receipt, in the year in which the business, even if it is not in existence, it doesn't matter. So friends, moving on with subsection 4a, wherein any provision made wherein any withdrawal of reserves created, where the reserve was created under section 36(1)(8), and if there is any withdrawal from such reserve, then the same is taxable under section 4a 41, where a reduction has been allowed in respect of any special reserve created and maintained under clause 8 of subsection 1 of section 36. Any amount subsequently withdrawn from such special reserve shall be deemed to be profit in the year of receipt, in the year of the withdrawal, and the same will be taxable. It goes without saying that the same will be taxable even if the business is not in existence. And here, brought forward losses of defunct business. So if you have any brought forward loss, so friends, brought forward losses of defunct business in subsequent, in preceding subsection, what we have studied is any income which is reversed in the subsequent year for which deduction was claimed in the preceding years. If there is any benefit in the current financial year, in the current previous year, will be subject to tax even if the business is not in existence, right? Now what if you have any brought forward loss? In those cases, if you have incurred loss in the final previous year of the SSC in which the business ceased to exist, so you can say the previous year in which the business ceased to exist, in that year, if you had any brought forward loss, if you had any loss incurred in that year in which the business ceased to exist, and you were not able to set off that loss in absence of any income, then you can set off that loss against such income, against income which are taxable as deemed profits under subsection 1, 3, 4, 4a. Again, subsection 1 will be trading liability or loss or expenditure. 3 will be scientific research asset. 4 will be bad debts, and 4a will be withdrawal from special reserve. So here, this brought forward loss can be adjusted against such deemed profits as per subsection 5 of section 41. Where the business or profession referred to in this section is no longer in existence and there is income chargeable to tax under subsection 1, 3, 4 and 4a, in respect of that business or profession, any loss not being a loss sustained in speculation loss, so such loss which arose in that business or profession during the previous year in which it ceased to exist and which could not be set off against any other income of that previous year. Shall such loss shall, so far as may be, set off against the income chargeable to tax under the subsections mentioned aforesaid. So the loss should be in the year, in the previous year in which the business ceased to exist. If yes, then it can be set off against such deemed profits as per subsection 1, 3, 4 and 4a. So only part which is not covered is the balancing charge, which is subsection 2 of section 41. So friends, this concludes section 41, and practically if you see, this section has relevance and you may get question on subsection 41(1) in the examination as practical question. So you should be very well aware of this particular section. And in all the subsections that you have seen, the business is not in existence and you have claimed some sort of reduction, either revenue or capital. That sort of expenditure has been claimed as deduction in the past, and it's only that any such reversal will be deemed as income in the hands of the SSC as deemed profits, even if the business is not in existence. Thank you.